Unnecessary intro song to totally waste your time.
Are you a gatekeeper? You are. You are a gatekeeper. This is what I've figured out, okay? I've been kind of complaining about gatekeepers for, I don't know. Well, let's see. I don't know. I haven't been complaining about it, but it's been a barrier that has maybe in a good way prevented me from doing things that I'm better off for not having done, right? But I didn't always feel that way. You right now hear the left talking about gatekeeping a lot. You know, it's like one of these things that you hear college students, don't gatekeep me, don't gatekeep me. And when I first started hearing them say that, I get annoyed when the left says stuff that I agree with, you know, because I'm immature, childish, and petty. But there's a lot of unnecessary gatekeeping in the world, and you can complain about it, or you can just realize that it's a fact of nature. Artists are maybe some of the worst. They're the people that complain about it the most, yet, I don't know, uphold it the most. You know? AI, let's get right to the point. So for the past year, you've heard some of my AI songs that I made. That are AI songs, they're my songs, but I use the tools of AI, just like I use synthesizers and drum machines and tape recorders and microphones and all kinds of inventions, a piano that plays various notes. I don't have to ask somebody to sing. You know, you go back 1,000 years and if you wanted a note song, if you wanted to create harmony, you'd have to find two friends or more, you know, to create a harmony. But now, you know, you can play a piano and have a whole orchestra at your fingertips. But so I've been making art for a long time. I've got hundreds, if not thousands, of songs that I've made, and who knows what gave me the desire to make it. Probably because I'm a manipulator, you know. I'm a dramatic little manipulator, you know. And I like to use the tools at my disposable tools at my disposal to manipulate people, you know, to make them feel things that they might not have felt had I not sang them a certain way or played a certain rhythm, you know. But with every piece of technology that's come along, I've been quick to adopt it. Like, I'm not a resistor when it comes to gadgets and tools to make things easily. And that doesn't go just for art. It's like power tools. I love gadgets. Gadgets are amazing. And gadgets that make your life a little bit easier, make it easier to go from one thing to another, are great. And this is where gatekeeping comes in as it relates to art, you know? Boy, when I was making little demos in my bedroom when I was 16 years old with my Juno 106, which is still sitting right over there, and my little Tascam Porta 1, which is still sitting right over there, and my Roland TR 707 drum machine, which is still sitting right over there, side by side. I felt like the gates were finally opened, you know, because before these little multi-track recorders, these home multi-track recorders, if you wanted to record yourself in multi-tracks and get your own harmonies and harmonize with yourself, you had to go to a big studio. It was expensive. There weren't very many of them, you know, so you had to have money, and then you had to hire an engineer to make it work, you know, so you could get things that sounded okay. They could run it through their little gear and their machines, but with every step of the way, these barriers have been broken down, you know, and it just goes one thing to another. Synthesizers, first, you know, stringed instruments. Oh, two strings vibrating at once. Harmony, 3 strings, 4 strings, whatever. Each tool that comes along gives the individual artist more access to things you didn't have access to before. You know, it gets gatekeepers out of the way. Because, for example, if I want to sing a song with 3 people, I can sing them the song, but they can decide if they want to sing it with you or not. They can keep that gate. You know, they can go, nah, I'm not going to do it. I don't like you, and I don't like your song. Or maybe I like your song, but I don't like you. Or maybe I like your song, but it scares me. Or maybe I'm married. There's a million different reasons why I'm going to keep this gate, and I'm not going to let you do this. You know? And imagine trying to you have a song in your head, and you got to, instead of just convincing one person to harmonize with you, it turns into a barbershop quartet, and it's 5 people. And I'm like, no, I'm busy. I don't like your song. I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't have time for you. I got other things to do, you know? But, you know, then take that to the choir. You know, it's 12 people, or a symphony. All those people are gatekeepers. We like to think of it as just record labels and publishers and managers and whatever. But it's not just that. It's you. You're a gatekeeper, you know? I'll get into it a little bit further. But that's just for making the music, you know? That's just for making the music. And the reason why AI, for me, is so fun and so wonderful is because the big frustration for me in my whole life of being in bands is, again, artists and their stupid fucking opinions and their naysaying gatekeeping. Like, no matter what, like, I remember back when I was in a band called Swim Herschel Swim. I didn't actually play in the band, but I did everything else. Set up the shows, promoted the shows, made all the T-shirts, drew the T-shirts, wrote songs. I was part of writing almost every single song, you know, even from the very beginning. But, you know, as time went on, I started writing all the songs. By the time the second or third album came along, I'd written 25 different songs, and we were in the process of recording them. But it caused such a big rift in the band because of the gatekeeping, you know? When you bring a song to a band, and it's a collaborative, and everybody's an equal member or whatever, the politics one has to play to actually get the other members to play the song or to play what they want it's so annoyingly high because they all have opinions, they all have different abilities. So it's like sometimes it's laziness. I don't know that chord. I don't know that rhythm. It's too hard. I would rather just play something I already know how to play. But they rarely say that. Usually it's just, I don't like it, blah. And they'll give all these reasons why their preferred music is something that's easy to play. You know. Anyway, point is, they're just full of shit. People are so full of shit. Not all. Some musicians are great. Some are eager to learn a new thing, to play a new thing, to enjoy just making music. But they're kind of rare. People like that are actually enjoy making music are kind of rare. There are so many people that get into it for different reasons. And I think a lot of it is just to be able to get into a group, be part of a group, and be part of a mob against somebody else. I know that sounds crazy. It sounds crazy, but trust me, I've seen it over and over and over again. In fact, every band I've ever hung out with, you know, I see that. I see 4 or 5 people conspiring to keep another person down. And that person is usually either the singer or the person that's writing the bulk of the songs, you know? And there's all kinds of different ways why they try to get in the way, because they don't like the lead. You know, there's this whole thing called lead singer's disease, and almost every band you'll ever meet will talk about it. The drummer and the bass player and the guitar player will grumble and complain about how everybody wants to see the lead singer, and the lead singer doesn't know what they're talking about, you know. And they always are trying to downplay the lead singer, even though the lead singer is the one speaking English and taking the most heat for whatever lyrics, whatever faggy lyrics they're putting out. unless I remind you, singing is about the gayest thing you could ever do. You've got to be very vulnerable to be a good singer. But you see these bands and and now with AI, there's none of that. I made a tape last year about this with my jokey songs that were fun. It's just the amazing thing that I want to make a funny song, and to be able to produce a song that sounded like really, really heavy metal singing about nachos, with no pushback and total commitment from the robot, from the AI, was amazing. Because getting that out of a human, it wouldn't happen. Anyway, so that's starting last year. Last year, with the AI music making, you kind of had to collaborate with the program. You could feed it in your lyrics. Like I would always start with lyrics. You give it the lyrics, and last year it could only make a little chunk at a time. I guess, that's just kind of how the way things go, how like floppy disks used to be. 5 megabytes used to be a garage-sized thing, and now, then turn into a floppy disk, and now 5 megabytes isn't anything. It's kind of that kind of thing, where things get more powerful, programs get streamlined. But anyway, now, sometimes towards the end of last year, Suno got to the point where you could upload your own song, your fully sung song, a demo of it, just, something you played on the piano with vocals, or you can even just sing into a thing. But it would only let you upload 2 minutes max. And I had a way around that where I would just kind of take my song and I would shorten it in another program, not shorten it, but speed it up, without changing the pitch. So it would come in at 2 minutes, but it was a little bit harder to get the robots to reproduce my song exactly what I wanted. Okay, fast forward to last month with the release of Suno 4.5. Now you can upload a max of 8 minutes, so a full demo. And then now when you give the robots instructions of what you want the production to sound like, make my song, my melody, my lyrics, my arrangement in this style or that style. It's now really good at executing, like phenomenally good, to the point where I'll put in a demo, I'll make the description where I'll say something like, I want this to sound kind of like a 1950s ethereal country jazz orchestral arrangement with a crooner type singer. And boom, first try, knocks it out of the park. Like first try. So it's like, what? And then, but I'll generate more. I'll generate 20 or 30 more, kind of chasing the dragon to see if I can improve upon it. And of course, it makes a lot of different versions. You can change the genres. And on the fly, just absolutely insane. Beautiful, beautiful recordings in whatever genre you want. Make it into a ska song, make it into a punk song, make it into an emo song, make it into, whatever you want. Anthem rock, stadium rock. And it does it. It just does it. And it's convincing and it's amazing. And I honestly can't believe I'm alive to witness it. Like, I feel like I'm living in an absolute miracle that this can happen. There are no gates being kept at all. Nobody's standing in my way. And it's insane. I mean, I've spent the last couple of days, I've started this thing where, I've been writing songs for so long, I just came across this folder called Voice Memo Songs on my Dropbox account, right? And it was a folder from 2016, and it contained voice memo songs from late 2014 to mid 2016, when I started another folder on a different device or something. But I decided to just start going through these songs, and most of them I just completely forgotten about. And I just started listening to these little voice recordings, and what they are is just me with my little guitar, and I'm a terrible guitar player. And this is right back when I first started playing guitar, so I was terrible to the max. And I was just making these songs and singing them. I would write the song and sing the whole thing through to record it as a voice memo song, not to share it with anybody, but just to make a record of the song so it wasn't forgotten, right? So I'm going through and I'm listening to these songs one by one, and I'm cringing at some of them, some of them written around the funeral of my drama teacher, and, but you're just hearing me, my shitty voice and my shitty guitar playing. And so it can be really like, if you're a self-critical artist, which I am, it can be like almost cringy. But I made a rule. I said, look, let's just start cataloging songs and giving them the treatment as, uploading them and saying, what did I imagine this song to be when I was writing it? Whenever you're writing a song, you kind of imagine what it could be. And most of the songs, when I hear them again, I remember what I imagined the song would be. Oh, this would be a rock song. This would be a ska song. This would be a beautiful ballad. This would be a heartbreaking, anthemic song like Tears for Fears or Cocktail Twins or some other thing or some combination. Well, now I don't have to pick the song, try to wrangle a bunch of people, a bunch of gatekeepers. I can just upload it, do a little bit of tidying up of the lyrics, making sure that the structure is all right, putting in where I want the musical interlude to be because, I usually didn't record the musical interlude part. But then it just spits these things back out. And I'll tell you, some of these songs that I was cringing about, like hearing it again, just me singing it, oh, too tender, too sappy or whatever, fully produced, made me bawl my fucking eyes out. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like, it's just like hearing them fully expressed the way they were supposed to be is really powerful. I've been sharing them with my brother because my brother and I have been writing songs together using the ping song thing. And he kind of agrees. It's just like, wow, that's just incredible. And to think that it's there is a thing, and I'm watching a lot of the gatekeepers online because if you're a musician, let me tell you something. The greatest thing about AI, I think the greatest thing about these AI tools, the greatest thing it can provide the world or provide artists with is humility. It's like, it is the most incredibly humbling thing. Now, I imagine for any musician to just go, oh crap, I can't force somebody to use me anymore. Yeah, I can't walk around all tall in my boots anymore because people don't need my services anymore. And it's true. It's now the need is gone. Now it transfers to desire, want. Do I want to work with you? Do I want this piano player to play? Do I want this pedal steel guitar player to play on my song? Do I want this singer to sing it? And I'm thinking that when I'm making these big productions, I'm thinking, well, I could ask Robin to sing these things, or I could ask Becky to sing these things. I know a lot of wonderful singers, not just female singers, but male singers too, where I could say, hey, do you want to do this? And I have before, and I've been met with pretty good reception. Like, yes, I'd be happy to do that, But then it's about scheduling. Then it's about getting it done. Then it's about hooking up the equipment. And people get busy. And then you have to always remind them, like, did you do that yet? You feel like a school mom asking for people to do homework. And that can be, like, hard to do because when somebody doesn't respond immediately, my thing is, like, oh, they hate it. That's why I don't share my art with many people is because, as soon as you put it out there for them to respond to it and they don't respond, it's just like my mind goes to, oh, they hate it. And then I listen to it again. I go, yeah, it sucks. It's terrible. No wonder they didn't respond. When really they might just be busy or something. Or they might be pulling some other thing, where they don't like the AI part. Like I made a song last year for a friend's birthday after I had a dream about her. She's a friend of mine. She's a musician, really good. She used to be signed to Interscope Records. And she's a good musician, and we've made some songs together. We made some ping songs together and even recorded them. And But I made a song for her with, these AI tools that sounded, like a full-fledged recording. And it was her name. And I sent it to her and she's like, wow, this is absolutely amazing. I can't believe it. Who'd you get to sing it? How'd you get it made? I wouldn't expect you to make this. And I just kind of kept her going for a minute. I milked all the critique out of her about the song. Like, oh, I got this woman online. It's true. I stretched the truth because I was using AI. But as soon as it finally came out that it was AI, she really threw a tantrum. Like, oh, I hate it. I'm going to move to the middle of nowhere. I don't want any of this stuff, because she's a real gatekeeper. She doesn't even like my ping song game because she doesn't like me getting normal people to write songs with me. She thinks it's this thing that is a very narrow field. Only certain people can be allowed in, everybody, total snob. I love her to death, but an absolute snob. Many artists are. They, especially the ones that actually got through the door, through the gates, talk about, kicking the ladder once you climb up. It's totally that. Slam the door as soon as you get through it. Don't let anybody else in. That kind of thing. But it's not, and the feeling, I understand her feeling, because now I don't have to use her. I'm not reliant upon her, or people like her, or her boyfriend who's a great guitar player, or a lot of the people that I don't need it. I didn't before. I could do it. I could play it myself, but now, anyway, it's just amazing how people worry about it, though. And what I've tried to tell her, and I've tried to tell other people. Thomas Dolby just made a big post about it. He's a fan. He's like, I like this art stuff, and he made the same kind of case that I do. It's a tool, and it will bring more. It will crash down gatekeep. It makes it more accessible to more people. But here's the point that I've been making with people. That when they say it democratizes it decentralizes it, it crashes the gatekeeps, and this is earlier on, that was a big part of my message. But now that I've done it for a while, I realize that it does not matter what the tool is that's available to you. It doesn't matter how miraculous it is. The amount of people that will wake up each morning and say, today I'm going to make a song, is never going to change. It's just not. I look at humanity the way I say you look at a beehive, a distribution of jobs, a distribution of interests. Nature took care of that. Nature decided, I'm not going to make everybody want to make art, because then nothing will get done. So it only produced so many artists. I don't think it will change even a tick, not even a small tick. You'd think that this new tool would bring about more artists, but it's not going to. It isn't going to, because the amount of people who want to write the words that they feel, to express them to themselves or to somebody else, or to share them in a poetic form, in the form of a song, and deliver them to somebody else, and to have that bravery or that vulnerability or that delusion or that narcissism or whatever it is that makes a person want to manipulate another person with a piece of media, a powerful, powerful piece of media, whether it's a book, whether it's a poem, whether it's a song, whether it's a dance. The amount of people that are going to have that kind of the audacity to do that isn't going to change. It's not going to change. You're not, it's like you're never going to have more leaders than there are people to lead. You know what I mean? There's only going to be so many leaders. There's only going to be so many. And everybody, because most people are built to follow. Most people are built to consume, And most people are gatekeepers. So that was the big thing that a lot of people have had to worry about. It's just like, oh, it's always been the record labels. It's been the record labels have been keeping me down. You know, it's the guys in the suits. It's the producers. Oh, they're the ones that are doing it. But really, the gatekeeper is you. You're the gatekeeper. I'm the gatekeeper. You know, if I send you a song tomorrow and or if I post it, you are going to gatekeep whether or not you're going to share it with other people. And sharing is an endorsement. It's a gatekeep, Like, nope, I'm not letting that one through. I like it okay, but not really, not enough to send it on. Or maybe you love it so much you don't want to send it up because it exposes you. And trust me, a lot of good songs do that, where you're like, oh crap, I don't want anybody to know that this is my favorite song because then they'll know that I'm a tender little pussy and they could kick my ass just with a few words, But yeah, we're living in the most miraculous of times, and I just can't believe how many black-pilled people I meet every day. They're black-pilled about robots, they're black-pilled about AI, they're black-pilled about this, they're black-pilled about that. I don't know, maybe they've always been black-pilled. I grew up kind of scared and about the devil and the end times, The Mormon religion, my parents and my teachers instilled a lot of fear into me, intentionally, You're going to go to hell if this or that happens. All these predictions about the future in the Bible, the Jews are going to do this, And you can see all this stuff aligning. You can see all these people, fulfilling prophecies because they've seen, I call it a to-do list. They see the list in the Bible and they go, well, we got to get this done. We got to get that done before Jesus can come back, So they're bringing about scary shit. And a lot of people are thinking of scary shit. But really, it's all an absolute incredible miracle, And we're living in the best of times. It's not the worst of times, People think it is, but it's not. We could do better. There doesn't need to be so much fentanyl. There doesn't need to be homeless people everywhere, We can do a lot better, but globally speaking, the opportunities that people have available to them, the shelter that they have, yes, this bullshit of Vanguard and BlackRock buying up all the properties, that's got to stop, but we can stop it. The thing is now we're at a point where everybody can talk about it. Like everybody on one subject, you can get a mass amount of people just going gatekeeping an idea. Look at the Epstein things. We got a bunch of people that want to talk about it endlessly, and just because the fact they do, then the president has to respond to it. That doesn't happen before Twitter and X and Facebook. The access that we have to our so-called leaders, the access that we have to be able to investigate them and find out what the truth is, and it's never been better. I mean, it's crazy. There's a real dichotomy here, too, because AI and everything else is going to make this access to making great things is going to make people trust media less. And this is a good thing. I mean, I already said that the best possible thing that could happen from AI to musicians is they could develop some humility. And hopefully that will be to humans too. Know-it-alls that think that they know everything. I read a book and now I know everything. I read 2 books, now I know everything's times 2. I read 10 books, now I know everything times 10. There's a lot of these people, but they're about to be humbled. These reporters, these people that have had the gate, they've been keeping the gate on everything. It's just, there's ways to get around. The good information gets out. You, the gatekeeper, decide what to share with your friends. And they can try to put a lid on it. They can. And the internet does that. But I mean, at the very worst, we're back to where we were before the internet, where you had to call people and walk over to their house and knock on their door and say, what are you doing? Want to go get lunch? I don't think that's a bad thing, but, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the better technology gets, the harder it is for anybody to be the ultimate gatekeeper, you know? And that's good. I think that's good. It's not all good, but it's better, I think. I don't know. I could be wrong. Like, even as I'm thinking about it, I look at how stupid people are, and, and how bad democracy is and how bad the mob is, and I can definitely see where it's just like, oh, no, you don't want the mob to get more control. But the alternative, is a really bad king or something, a bad dictator. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like dictators have. It doesn't seem to be working for them globally. They're losing grip on power, and I just don't think that these tools are going to give them more power in an uneven way. It's like, whatever power they get, the people are getting in return too, because that technology is leaking. I don't know. Now I'm babbling. But, yeah, with the AI, that there's nothing, you shouldn't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You can still make your painting. People will still want your painting because you made it. Like, one of the other things is I'm looking on this Suno site, because I'm using it to, again, make full-fledged productions of my songs. And I'm spending more time on music now than probably ever. That's the thing about tools, is like, it's kind of like you think about your phone and how it starts off with, the software that you had 10 years ago only had so many, gigahertz. And everybody that made apps for it would make it knowing that that's the limit. But then as soon as they raise the bar, everybody hogs up that space immediately. And no matter how much more powerful you make something, people decide, well, I'm going to do something to use all that power. It's like, it's kind of like that. Like, my morning regimen now, my daily regimen for the past couple of weeks has been, I just go into that voice memos folder from 2015. I'm not even done with 2015. I've been working on this for a couple of weeks, and the 2015 songs are still not all fleshed out. I think I'm about 3/4 of the way done making full-fledged. But when I'm making these full-fledged productions, I'm making I finally limited myself to 13 generations each, just because I was born on the 13th and I have to have some arbitrary number. But so 13 generations, 13 fully produced versions of songs in different genres. I'm like Clive Davis on crack, like, he couldn't have dreamed to have the power that I currently have at this moment. And so do you if you want it, to just pick up the phone and say, got this good song. I want 25 bands to make me their best version of it. They all have to book studio time and orchestras. Imagine just the millions of dollars that it would take for him or anybody else to do what I do now in an hour. In an hour, I can produce these tracks, listen to them all the way through, take notes on each one of them where I didn't like this, where I don't like that one. Here's where the phrasing was wrong. This was blah, blah, blah. So you still got to be meticulous. And I tell this to people all the time too. It doesn't really matter what tools are available. Most people are going to make shitty things with the tools. Like these AI video generators are incredible. And there are some really good art coming out of it, meme style art, and the possibilities are endless. But if you look on the sites where people are making it and sharing it, including Suno, if you listen to the songs they're making, most people they're letting the robots write the lyrics. They're not good. And even the people that are writing their own lyrics aren't very good at it either, because they're not being honest. They don't know. They're not accessing the truth, So you got all these songs, and it's just like, okay, boring. They all sound great, but it's just like, no. and even just knowing that there's so much of that garbage out there keeps people from looking for it. So people will just wait until something's recommended. They're going to wait until you, the gatekeeper, share something with them that's not yours. That's the thing. There's this thing about when the artist shares it, sends it to somebody, it's just like, there's a lot of pressure. I'm one of these people. If you share with me your art, I'm going to give you my total honest review, good and bad and everything. I'm going to golden rule that shit. That's because that's the way I like to be treated. I will give you the honest truth. But most people are just like, I don't want to be in that position. Don't send me your art, because what if it's bad? But that's the gatekeeping nature of that, when your friends start sharing things, when somebody you love and somebody you trust reposts a song, and if it's really good, lots of people share it, and I know the difference. I've had songs that have been shared a lot. I've never had a huge hit, but there are songs that I put out that get really widely shared, and then other stuff that just gets ignored, and that's not changing. It doesn't matter the tool, I'm going through this in 2015, just 1 year, actually late 2014, 2016. And I'm going, okay, that's pretty good. Sounds good. Filler song, fun song, or whatever. But then you get to a couple songs that are just like, wow, that's good. That's legitimately good. Great, even. Sometimes a song, if you write 100 songs and you even have the bare minimum of the qualifications it takes to do it, which is actually the desire. The fact that you have the desire to do it, if you have that desire will end up, you're going to write some good songs out of 100. You're going to have 3 or 4 that are just going to be really, really good, But are you going to do it? No. Most of you won't. Most people won't. Most of the songwriters out there today, they don't really write that many. It's amazing what production value can do for a song. Like I've been witnessing that just in the last week, taking some of these songs that are kind of like, oh, okay, it's okay. It's kind of a cute song. But then you make a full production of it and it turns it from a cute song into a, wow, that sounds like a really legit song. I don't know why I hated this when I listened to it 20 minutes ago, because now that it's produced, it sounds really good. And you can pat yourself on the back for writing it, But again, even with my access to these tools, in the middle of last year, I had a little bit of a crisis about it. Like, what's it? Why am I doing this? Why am I spending so much time on this thing? I'm not really going to share these songs with people anyway. So why am I doing it? Is it a legacy thing? Am I thinking of people finding this stash of folders someday after I'm dead, and then, praising Jesus that he killed me so that these songs could be released? These stupid fantasies. There's no real reason to share and make art, or make and share art. But yet I do. Every single goddamn day, I make it. And there's that ever looming existential question as to why. Why? I don't have the answer, but I think it's because nature, God, whatever you want to call it, just makes a certain amount of people that way. Just like for whatever reason. Just like Jesus made my dog chase a squirrel off the deck just now. Why? Got to protect the peanuts that are specifically there for the squirrels. That's why. Anyway, we're living in good times. We really are. Don't get black-pilled. Don't let them black-pill you. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. If you're getting black-pilled, if you're getting depressed about AI or robots or anything, turn off your screen. Do something else. Engage in making something. Or better yet, engage with the tool. Just learn it. If you're afraid of something, use it. Guns are scary. Pick one up. Go to the target practicing. Chainsaws are scary. Pick one up. Go chop down a tree. Make some wood for the fire. Race cars are scary. So what? Get in one. Go around the track. Feel the thrill. Jumping out of an airplane's scary. Put on a parachute. Do it. Anyway, good times. That's all. Thanks for listening.
Unnecessary outro song to totally waste